given we're probably anticipating a contingency is probably going to be required one way or the other, that's what we're kind of finding with a build at the moment, trying to preempt and have a client prepared for this, I mean, do we highlight, look, this is extremely tight, interest rates are going up, so we have to reapply for this contingency in 3 months' time. This may not service. How do we give them a plan B? Do we look at what extra, don't put all your deposit into the build? How do we we can manage expectation, can't we, knowing how strong or weak the deal is, anticipating a contingency could be required?
100%. We definitely want to understand a client's circumstances in detail, and it is always a bit of a puzzle. So it's trying to look at if a client has more deposit in cash than they actually need to meet the bank's requirements. We often could look at retaining some of that cash to keep on hand to use for any variations or contingencies that might pop up through the build. Also for any changes the client may want to make, or it could even just be adding curtains at the end of the project. So without having to ask for the bank to get that money back. If you put all your cash in, you definitely have to apply to get it back out. So we'll consider that. And also understanding the client's servicing position. If the deal is really tight, it's then looking at the time frame. If they had to reapply, it is likely that interest rates will be higher, and therefore the assessment rates for the bank will be higher, which will make it even more challenging for them to be approved again. I've had a couple of clients I've been working with for about a year, and we've had them approved 3 times, and each time the level of lending they could achieve has gone down. So you know, it definitely is, when we're pushing the banks to get the maximum level of lending we can for a client, we have to understand what does that look like in the future, and how can we then work with the clients around that. So do they have other options on raising finance personally if required? Would family help out with 20,000 to cover some of the extra build, or can we find a way to work with the bank to get it approved for them as well?
Yeah, and I guess as an advisor, that's all we can really do is look, today, this is how it looks, this is how strong or weak it is, you've got a tight buffer there, in 6 months' time it could look like this could be the issue. If this is the issue, how are we going to handle it? So before our client signs, we're kind of making sure they've got a plan A and a plan B, if you like. That's what we've got to do in these times, help them be prepared, isn't it?
Yep, 100%.